How's it going, everybody? We are live with another THORChain news weekly recap over on THORChain University. This is on YouTube and over on X. If you've got anything you want to chat, you can always chat in the chat boxes. You can do that on Twitter. And if you are here, please do hit the like button or the heart button and share this around wherever you're at. I'm going to give it like 2 minutes to see if I could get some more people in here. And in the meantime, I figured we'd talk not about THORChain because we do have some interesting news to cover for THORChain, which I think is going to be, it could be, I don't know. It depends on how you want to view it, but there's definitely some news to cover. So first thing I want to do is just maybe for the next minute or two, talk about this. Did you guys see this video? I guess Bitcoin, depending on how you feel about Bitcoin, I know there's a lot of maxis in the THORChain community, but actually maybe not necessarily, because if you like Rune and you like Bitcoin, then by definition, can you really be a Bitcoin maxi? But it sounds like there's an urgent situation happening here. Now, I don't know if he looks, I mean, look at that. He looks 100% serious with this. I don't know if he's saying this strictly because he thinks that Bitcoin is the only thing, and be it that everything else he doesn't consider, a worthy coin, that this puts America at risk. I don't know. Maybe Ripple could be doing something pretty shady on the back end as well. We're going to have to wait and see. I know there's a lot of people dumping on maxis, saying, things like they want the government to pump their bags. Who cares about the government? And then you got the maxis themselves that are upset because they're anticipating the government buying up a lot of Bitcoin. So curious your guys' thoughts on that. Can you guys hear me at least? Thanks, Diplo, for letting me know. I'll have to figure out why you couldn't hear that in the future. But yeah, Diplo is here. What's going on? All right, so that's kind of a bummer if you guys could not hear that. Good thing I only played like a very, very short clip. Since you can't hear it, that's good that this doesn't require. So this is pretty much summed up. This is what it seems like. You've got THORChads in the community, just from my observation, that look like they're in one of two camps, and you've seen this already. I know it, but this is literally what it looks like. In my opinion, I think you've got some people that are really excited about the idea that we're getting rid of the liability, right? And those would be Elon in the back here. Pumped, sweet. We can move on from this, hopefully in the future. And we're going to talk a lot about lending and savers here in this video. I'm curious your guys' thoughts as well. So you've got those that are happy, and then you've got also liquidity providers, people in savers, lenders, people even just holding Rune, if you're concerned, right? If obviously we don't want prices to tank, and you're just kind of like, yeah, okay, been here a while. This is kind of a bummer going through this. So also, if you're new to Rune and THORChain, then maybe you're over here because this could be a good opportunity. Or it could be, there's a lot of people that are rooting for THORChain to die, and they're saying it's dead and all that, which, I'll leave that to you to kind of, if you're watching this video, you probably don't feel that way. So this was the first tweet I remember over, and it's the 23rd. This feels like it was like last week. I guess this was like 3:38 p.m. So this was about like 28 hours ago, not even that long ago. But Rune hits 250. He's basically talking about hunting the price and then what he would want to see happen. That seemed to start a bit of like people agreed with him, pause the lending. It seemed like that was never going away. I just talking about something personal. I was talking with Familiar Cow, and I know that there were some people in the community that thought if we just leave it alone, ignore it, the savers are going to close. The lending will close slowly over time. We don't need to cause a panic. Ruggiero network, the chains, the integrations with the wallets, that will allow us to outgrow the liability, and we shouldn't have to worry about it. My initial, it doesn't matter. I'm reporting the news on this channel, but there were kind of two camps on that. And it looks like it's been pushed to the point now where there is no ignoring it. The liability is there, and it is time to get rid of it. So this was shared a lot, 75,000 views on this thread, at least this first one. And THORChain Bull is just, he's talking about it. Oh no, if I go up to like the main tweet, right? 1.3 million views. Hopefully he's monetized. Hey, what's going on? What's up, Jonas? Nice to see you in here as well. So THORChain, and he calls it THORChain is insolvent. That is one way to, make that point known. And not that he, at the time, maybe they had already paused it or whatever, but it is insolvent. There's no reason to beat around the bush necessarily. So now savers and lending is paused. So it's got some liabilities that it needs to take care of. And how is it going to do that? They could have just let it run. People could potentially panic, and there would have been the fear always that the price of Rune would drop to a level that would make the network probably not secure, maybe at risk, just in a bunch of different ways. So they don't want to let that happen. So instead of letting the whole ship sink, they are deciding to, the people that are going to get the short end of the stick, I guess, out of this seems like it's going to be the people that are in there for lending and the savers. Although it's not necessarily that they would lose money. It's just that it would take a while for them to get paid back their collateral. So if they were expecting to do something with Bitcoin at 120K, but they can't get their collateral, then that's obviously not a good situation necessarily for them in that case. So he goes on, he talks about this. He's actually going to put together he said he's working on a GitHub over the weekend. So I don't want to focus too much on this tweet because I'm sure there's probably different iterations on the ideas that he had in here. But nonetheless, THORChain lending and savers is paused, and a solution is going to take place. And then we're going to have to see what goes from there. I know that a lot of people have said that, or at least I've seen a couple times, that THORChain just all the liability, we don't got to worry about it anymore. It's not necessarily that. It's just that we don't have, there's no fear now of a death spiral and a bank run because we literally basically closed the banks is what happened. And so now it's a resolution on how do we get you your money back. Unlike banks that are insolvent and probably maybe not making any money and have no way to pay back their depositors in a lot of situations, THORChain, fortunately, makes revenue. So we'll talk about that here in a second. So that's a good thing, because I saw negative takes like this, right, where he says, now THORChain is officially dead, which it's not, right? It is not officially dead. And then he pointed to TCBs, right? So this thing is insolvent. Like I said, that's just some people decided to take it this way and get this negative about it. You got another Bitcoin maxi. The THORChain scam finally imploded. And I know you guys are probably you're following this more closely, so you're probably more knowledgeable on what's happening, and you know that it's not a scam, and it is not imploded, and it is not dead. It's just going through some growing pains, getting back to simplifying itself, and it just needs to get worked through, and it's going to take time. But there's going to be people, that's what I was saying back to that Elon meme, that are going to be cheering on destruction. Anything outside of Bitcoin they want to see destroyed, essentially. Like, there's just a lot of people like this. And I'm not putting this up here to try to FUD Rune or THORChain. I'm just sharing the news on the different sides of things, and then we could maybe talk about it in the chat. What's up, Soda? Nice to see you in here. Your bags are crying, though. Yes. I'm not going to talk on price on this channel, but yeah, it's not good for economic security, and obviously wasn't good for lenders and savers, especially the Rune BTC ratio. But we're moving on. We're moving through, right? Dark Fail here says rumors of THORChain's death are greatly exaggerated. They are resilient AF. Decentralized paths for no KYC Bitcoin are critical for the human right to privacy. So he's even throwing privacy in there, right? Which is great. It's permissionless, no KYC Bitcoin. And even if you only had stablecoin pools, it would still be highly beneficial to have THORChain in existence, right? And we're going to get to a tweet from an OG that came back that says something about that. And then Maddie says, nobody wants Rune price to dip, but the silver lining for nodes is that they stack double during times like this. Now, you might say to that, oh, great. So the nodes, right? I can't participate in being a node. I'm a small fish. Once again, I'm getting screwed by the nodes. You might feel that way, right? And you can, right? You can find some nodes that will accept low deposits. But at least in times like this, one thing that makes this good is that you're not, if nodes are making more money, then at a time like this, when we're panicking about everything else, potentially not really panicking. I'm not panicking. That, not that you care about my opinion on that necessarily, but the nodes have an incentive not to leave if the APYs go up and if they still believe in the project. And if you're putting millions of dollars into Rune to be a node operator, you want the income, you want to see it succeed. You're going to do everything in your power to not lose your principal and to make this work. So keep that in the back of your mind, I guess. And then DeFi Cafe here says, there is no debt spiral. The tourniquet has been applied. The path ahead is clear. I don't know that it's totally clear on what they're going to do, but I think broadly speaking, it does seem like we know lending and savers are not getting turned back on. And there's going to have to be a resolution to pay them back. And that's all that seems to be the question now. How do you do it in a fair way to hurt the fewest amount of people and eliminate the risk and like try to, try to just do this in as best a way as you possibly can is the vibe I'm getting from this. You've had some people, I wanted to refresh this to see if while I'm live streaming here, if we get any big Rune buys, but it doesn't look like in the last bit. Although TCB did just post this 20-ish minutes ago, bought another clip. I think he bought like 1 million just like 24 hours ago, but he just bought another $1.2 million worth of Rune, and he is a node operator, obviously. So this kind of thing, I think, is not going to use the word right. So it's a good sign that node operators are doubling down on their positions, and that the people that have to implement the code and understand THORChain's technicals far more than I do have a lot of faith in it, right? We're talking about $1.3 million that he's buying, and this isn't his only one. So just a good sign, at least in my opinion, if you're just looking at the behaviors of people, right? So this proposal, I did want to talk about it. Let's see here. P&L and Rune pool going down. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not following the Rune pool, but if the price of Rune is going down, then I'm imagining that would be the case because it makes up half of the pool, right? THORChain Bull is true Chad. Yes. Seasick Viking. I missed the beginning, but like proof of Steve's tweet about recovery, people are getting creative. Oh yeah, so this is the next tweet. You got here right in time, Seasick Viking. So this proof of Steve has some really interesting ideas, even before, like over the last couple weeks or so. If you're not following him, go give him a follow. THORChain Bull, all these people, really, except for the haters, all the people that I showed at the very beginning. Like, you don't need to follow. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need to follow those people necessarily. But his solution here, it's a pretty short tweet, but I at least wanted to go through some of it here because it's pretty interesting. And this is just my take on it. So if you are in the chat and I do this wrong, then it's likely I'm not like super smart, but I'm not like completely stupid. So if I'm not getting this right, then it's likely that other people in the community are also not getting it right. So please correct me in the chat if this is wrong. So you create a module called the discount auction model. You tokenize all borrower positions via snapshot of Bitcoin ETH value at the time of the snapshot. So this is only if you have a position open, they take a snapshot. And I think that snapshot, he says value at the time. And I don't know if he means value in terms of like if you had a loan and your collateral was like 1 Bitcoin, or if he's saying if it was $100,000 worth of Bitcoin. Because if the price of Bitcoin goes up, these people are going to be pissed if that means that you're only paying them back $100,000 worth. And then that's like what, 2/3 of a Bitcoin or something like that. But you tokenize their value, divert 10% of system income to this module. So instead of like similar to how a burn happens with system income, it takes it out. This would go into this discount auction module. And then once per day, if the dam has over a certain amount of rune, an auction goes live. So now you're sitting with a token, and essentially you get to redeem. So I think he says that any holder of a tokenized position can bid to close their loan using the liquidity in the dam. The larger the discount they're willing to set, the higher their bid. So let's say someone is very motivated to get out, and they're like, I don't care. I'll close my position at a 20%. I just need to get out of this, or I have a medical bill, or whatever it is that they want to do for whatever reason they want to be out. Then they can bid, and they'll say, I'll take a 20% discount. I know Tom would only take 18, but I'll take 20. And then boom, they can close out. And then what you're doing though is it's going to cost you less rune to do it that way because people are willing to take a discount. And then if you just want to chill until the revenue will cover all the loans and you want full recovery, you just have to wait. The only thing about that is it might take a very long time for that to get paid back. That's my read on this, at least. So let me know if I am wrong on this. Yeah, getting into it. Gotta log off. All right, Diplo, check you later. All right, thanks, Jonas. Thanks for confirming. So he says pros if you want to exit. Yeah, basically some of the stuff that I just mentioned, some pros, cons. There will be reduction though to the liquidity providers and the node operators. But I mean, considering where it's at, I think people are pretty willing to say, we'll take a haircut and we can learn as long as we can keep this thing going, especially with the potential growth that there is with Ruggiero network, right? And then the wallets and chains integrations, all that different stuff. And if you haven't seen it, yesterday on THORChain University, I interviewed Pragmatic Monkey. Awesome dude to chat with. He shared some alpha and a little bit about how that works, how Ruggiero is going to work, especially the Ruggiero leagues with the agents. So go and check out that interview if you haven't seen that one yet. But it could be, I mean, I don't know. Again, oh yeah, I forget. No, right. All right, so then we got an OG kind of coming back, and this was good. Kind of like a, just saying proud of, like everyone's he likes what the community is doing, taking a step back, trying to solve it. Acknowledging how awesome it is, obviously, of a protocol, at least in my opinion, and you probably think that too if you're here watching this. And then mention a little bit about his decision to step back, right? And it's just, he has some stuff going on, and that happens to all of us. So hopefully he gets better and everything, and appreciate the comment, obviously, at least I do, and hope to see him back around the community. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see if we got anything else in the chat here before I move on to some more of this stuff. Integrity is everything, and halting repay of loans is not good. Will companies like Ledger, Shapeshift, Wallet take a chance staying? Well, the thing is, nothing else about the protocol is affected. So Ledger, they're making money on the affiliate fees. Do you think they're going to want to turn that off? You think the wallet's going to want to turn that off when they're making millions of dollars a year in affiliate fees? So the core of the protocol is still completely fine. It's still humming along. There's still swaps going on. There's no reason to for an integrator. I mean, I'm sure that maybe some integrators are asking questions, but if you integrated THORChain, you know what it is. You're not like a simple, oh, what's THORChain? Like, let me, kind of person. I think Ledger took like 2 years. They're not going to give up the amount of revenue. Oh, let's say, hey, I don't know who they're talking to necessarily. Ledger calls up, or someone calls up Ledger or DMs them on Twitter, whoever helps with the integrations and stuff. Hey, we good? Yeah, we're good. Okay, cool. Check you later. Right? See you at the yacht party or whatever it is what I would expect. Maybe there's some integrations that might be a little bit more squeamish, but again, if they just go look at their stats, nothing changed with the swaps. So I just don't see that being an issue. And I know people keep harping on the trust thing, and I understand that to an extent. Yeah, if you want to trust it from a liquidity providing standpoint or from something else. But if you're just a person, if you're just doing swaps and you're just an affiliate, I don't know why you would necessarily be bothered. That's just my take on that one, at least. Do you know how many rune have been burned to borrow versus what was minted to close so far? I'll have to, there's stats. Go to the 9 Realms dashboard and look at the 30-day and look at that. Because I'm not too entirely sure the answer off top. Even Chad B came out of the world. Yeah, it was good. It was good. I was glad to hear from Chad. Personally, I think some people, I got mixed. I was reading the comments on his tweet, and I think he was the one sort of pushing, at least in the front facing, for THORFi. So the fact that it ended up not working out, I just hope he's not hesitant to come back because of something like that. But I know there's going to be people that are just going to be people about that. You know what I mean? So we'll have to see. Oh, but the whole point that I had this up is volume is still churning. This is the 23rd though, so maybe this doesn't update. Maybe it's got a day lag on it. No, because it's just yeah, look at January 24th's volume. Still is up. So I don't think that there's necessarily any. I think that's good, right? Everything's still going. And then we had this. I listened to, if you guys did not listen to Kenton and Patriot Sounds this morning, I listened to that this morning, and there was a section there where Kenton was talking about marketing and Patriot Sounds were talking about marketing. JP said he spent $1 million and it was a waste of time. So he said THORChain should not spend a single dollar on marketing, in his opinion, obviously. Should only spend time and resources on the following things. Basically, biddle, right? Let the wallet's front ends market themselves, which is great. I mean, this is basically what's been happening thus far, but I do think there's power in people knowing where these swaps are coming from, right? And then Kenton had a good, let me see what I have here. Okay, and then we're moving into some news from some ecosystem stuff. But Kenton made a point. He was like, well, the marketing should be to users. And if you had BitBoy, or what is it? Who's popular? Thread Guy. I see him sometimes. BitBoy, Thread Guy, some other meme coin degens. Like, who cares, right? I almost wonder when it comes to Bitcoin swaps. I was just thinking about this right before hopping on here. Is, do people know? Like, if people want to swap into Bitcoin, even if their main ecosystem is Solana, do they think that they have to go to a centralized exchange to swap for Bitcoin? I would not. I've been around THORChain, just a personal anecdote, since early 2020, basically January 2022. And so for me, I've always been like, yeah, if I want to do a decentralized swap for Bitcoin, I just know where to go. Whereas, is that obvious? Like, have I taken that for granted? Like, does everyone else, even if they're degens on other chains, do they know that, oh, no, you just go to THORSwap, or you could do it in the wallet, bro? Why are you going anywhere? You have a trust wallet? Just swap for Bitcoin in your trust wallet. What are you doing? Like, what assets you got going? That kind of thing. So I just wonder, Kenton brought that up. He was like, just show people where they can do the swaps, and just everywhere. Like, if you want to swap for Bitcoin, you can do that in your wallet. Oh, no, I didn't know that. Okay. And then so they just swap in their meme coins and they swap just in the wallets. And then THORChain is just powered in the back end of that. They don't necessarily need to say THORChain powered. And this, I'm not trying to inject my opinion here. Just the two different, JP spent $1 million and it didn't work out. But that doesn't mean that he tried necessarily everything, So maybe there's opportunity for marketing still. I know Kenton is going to push for that. At least that's what he said. So that's why I had this tweet up here. What do you guys think? Where should marketing go? Do we need marketing? Does THORChain need marketing? And what would be the best way to do that in your guys's mind? Let's see if we got a couple other chats here. I appreciate you guys chatting. This was a whole lot more fun when you guys are chatting. How much Rune do you have, brother? I'm a huge fan of Rune. Bro, do people answer these kind of questions? I have $1.37 worth of room. No, it's fair to ask, but I would never answer that question. And I don't recommend anybody. Well, do whatever you want, but it's probably not good to publicly talk about how much you have of anything. L1, hey man, trying to understand what happened. Can you confirm the situation was induced because we exceed the 15 million buffer due to the lending leverage being too high, which caused too much? Oh, no, this did not cap out. This wasn't a thing where it reached a minting limit. It didn't get, so this whole freezing it was a preventative measure, because the whole bet with THORFi was that Rune was going to outperform Bitcoin, ETH, and all the other assets, and it's just not doing that. And one thing that kind of changed that was streaming swaps, sort of changing the model a little bit. So there wasn't the TVL to Rune correlation wasn't really tied together anymore. At least that's my take on it. So with streaming swaps, it made everything more efficient, but it meant that the accrual to Rune wasn't so obvious and as much of a, I don't know how to explain this, right? But so when that was broken, you had the other assets. It used to be when Bitcoin pumped, Rune sort of came with it because it needed to for security in the pools, to my understanding. And then, yeah, it just doesn't have to do that anymore. And then with the swaps being so efficient now with streaming swaps, it kind of broke the flywheel a bit, as you can just clearly see based on the action we've seen over the last few months. So this is THORFi is a risk. We need to get rid of it. And like we said at the top, some people thought, let it go, we'll try to outgrow it. And now it's just to the point where Rune is underperforming Bitcoin to the point where it's like, let's stop, bite this, and try to come up with a plan. So that's where it's at on that one. Soda says, yes, I remember Chad B was pushing lending in a lot of places, not helping. He was, okay, maybe. That's sort of an opinion. I don't want to get too into, that kind of thing. Bro, we just got marketing for a decade. I know. I'm hoping we'll have to see how it sticks, I guess. I'm just chatting with you a little bit. But I remember in 2022, 2023, I would share about THORChain in different groups because I just thought it was so cool. I'm like, well, why aren't you guys? And I would always compare everything back to THORChain. And they'd be like, oh, bro, that thing gets hacked all the time. Like that doesn't have any sort of security. And then I would be like, well, what wallet what are you using? And they're like, Trust Wallet. I'm like, does that have Bitcoin swaps? Or just, I would try to do stuff like that. And they'd be like, yeah. And I'm like, well, it's likely that you're using THORChain. You just don't even know it yet. And they're like, oh God, well, I'm not going to use that wallet anymore. And I'm like, are you just being dramatic? Like some of these people are on Twitter, or like just because the hack stuff. So now, depending on how this goes, are we going to have to deal with, oh, THORChain? You mean the one that blew up like Luna, right? Is that going to be a thing for like 2 more years? I hope not. My standard answer for how much do you have is not enough. I love it. I mean, and it's actually true. It's actually true. Yeah. Oh, and I hope that answered your question. I hope I was right. I hope I actually answered it correctly. Sometimes it's hard to keep up with all this stuff. All right, so now into some ecosystem projects. And if you guys have any other questions or thoughts on any of this, please do leave it in the chat. Leave it in the chat. Like and subscribe to the THORChain University YouTube, the Twitter, obviously, or the X account. Obviously, heart this, share this around so we can get exposure for THORChain. So our first one I want to talk about El Dorito. They have now a swap kit competitor like thing, like a router. So I just want to bring that up. Their proprietary router for THORChain, Maya, Chainflip, OneInch, and Jupiter is ready for soft launch. So I don't know how you felt about. It's just good to have a swap kit SDK sort of competitor out there. So just wanted to share this news about them. Also got Rango Exchange. I did see that it looks like if you go on their page, they're going to have a token here soon. So if you're a big fan of Rango Exchange, they use THORChain on the back end. If you go over there, we just did a tutorial on them. I think we just posted a tutorial for them on Wednesday. And I didn't even know this. I didn't even know that we're going to have a token. They just have a platform. You can go and try them out, but it does look like they're going to have an airdrop portion in there as well. So if you've used Rango Exchange, you can go and check their points leaderboard to see where you might fit on their airdrop sort of leaderboard. People like airdrops, right? So I figured I would share this one with you guys as well. Thor Wallet also, their Thor Wallet card is now available in even more countries. I do remember it being in a lot of countries already, so the addition of more is just massive. I don't know if they're available in the United States. I haven't gone and checked that out, or the UK, or where I'm assuming the UK for sure, or wherever you guys are actually at. But this is good for Thor Wallet, right? Just getting more access to them. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then I had this tab here because some people were asking, but you guys aren't going to be able to hear it now. I got to figure out how to make it so that you can hear this stuff. But I was going to play this. What happened with the Thor Wallet and Multisig merge that kind of that didn't work out? And I guess it was just different visions He kind of mentions their card and that they also have a multi-factor sort of situation in Thor Wallet, and multi-sig is a more of a vault structure sort of thing is what he said. I didn't fully understand exactly what he was talking about, but it sounded like the technicals of each were going to limit where each wanted to go is the takeaway I got from that. So it was best to just sort of split is what I got out of this one. And then on that multi-sig note, coming soon this year, we build for the bots. The bots will work for you. Brought this up because when I was talking to Pragmatic Monkey, he was talking about the bots and the multi-sig tech and multi-sig being part of the stack. And DeFi Cafe, if you're not following DeFi Cafe, 1 second, give him a follow. New tech lead for multi-sig, I believe, and he's been tweeting more now. I think I've been following him for a minute, or maybe not. I don't know. Capital will be allocated by code. So that is the general thesis, is that with AI agents, you're going to have code, which is just the agent. You will work with your agent to define strategies. So then what happens is, let me make this bigger, to define strategies. So you're going to have certain parameters to tell these agents what you want them to do, which chains, maybe what dexes, maybe what strategies, maybe what type of margins, how much they can spend, maybe all this kind of thing. The agents will have the DeFi primitives to execute the strategies, maybe all within Rujira. Maybe they will go, I mean, it's all cross-chain, right? So could it dive into Aave eventually or do some more sophisticated type of trading or yield hunting for you? I would imagine so, if the tech allows it to work. The execution will be validated by a human or a policy. So that's what I was saying. That with the policy, you might set the parameters, but you might say, hey, you got to ask me before you make this trade. So maybe multi-sig has like a sweet notification thing where it's like, ba-ding, your agent wants to make some money right now. And then you click on it and you're like, approve. So your agent just can't. I mean, maybe you could set it up so the agent could just run, but I don't know. So wake up, check transaction queue, approve, deny, repeat, right? Kind of what we just said. Check the history, smile, check transaction history. I'm interpreting this as check how much money you just made, smile, and nod back to building. So I think there's so much exciting stuff getting built with Rujira, with the chains, with everything going. It's just THORFi, right? Nothing in life seems to just be perfect. Also, this is not a FUD of Chainflip. So Trump launched over last weekend, and Solana went haywire with this. I think it broke everything essentially, and it gave everybody an opportunity to learn. And I'm not even bashing Chainflip. Sometimes stuff happens, but they had to put it into safe mode, which I believe is the same as, and I could be wrong on this, safe mode. Maybe they only had to halt Solana, but I think that's what safe would mean. While we deal with the fallout of significant and ongoing network back pressure triggered by Solana's congestion. Swaps and most other features will be unavailable for at least the next few hours. All funds are safe, though, so there was never any doubt about the funds being safe. And incoming Solana routes are live again, and this was yesterday, right? So they got that figured out. The beauty is Chainflip is open source. It doesn't have the same design as my protocol or THORChain, but there's probably a lot that can be taken away and learned from with this. When I was talking to Familiar Cow he mentioned that Solana is having so much transactions per second right now that you can't even read it. Like they're happening so fast. And I don't know if he meant obviously a human, like it'd be like there's no way a human would be able to read it. But I think what might be happening is, I'm not a dev. I hope I'm using the right word. The daemon, whatever, would read the transactions and try to filter for stuff that's saying, oh, this relates to us. This relates to this doesn't, this does, whatever, right? And if you get so backed up on that, then you might have problems with like the chain state, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a dev. I'm throwing just random words out. I'm really trying to sound smart so that, you know what I'm saying? But Solana's back up again. Great for them. They learned a lot, so no doubt their protocol is probably even stronger, and they're kind of part of like the they're part of the club. So if they're doing cool stuff, then I figured it was worth a nod. Like I said, even if you want to say, why are you showing a competitor? We can learn. THORChain can learn from them. So it's not all lost. They're open source. Yeah. And then this was just me scouting for news on that tab. So yeah, let's see what we maybe got in the chat. I'll leave this up here because I think it's just funny. Went through them hacks and Luna LP fiasco. Yeah, we were all here for that. Getting almost too confident it will be all right, but still carrying Luna PTSD to balance things. Yeah. I mean, I do think the debt spiral cannot happen because they froze it. It's just a matter of you can still have LPs leave if they wanted to, but with these resolutions, with the solutions, I know that at least I think it was THORChain Bowl, and this was on the Kenton Patriot Sounds thing earlier too, but liquidity providers are going to be first-class citizens again. And I know especially for Patriot Sounds, I don't know if he runs nodes, but he said on that cast this morning that he's like an LP. And I don't know how big a position he has or anything like that, but he's like, it's been right. LPs have not been necessarily first-class citizens for a while. So there's going to be a shift to that, obviously, because you don't want to lose the liquidity providers. And if the LPs have not been first-class citizens, it's likely the nodes have been breaking, like making a lot. So I'm sure there's like a willingness to maybe shift a little bit, I would imagine. So you want to keep the LPs happy so they don't leave. And then you just want to make sure, and then all you're trying to do is public relations to make sure that everyone else gets fair treatment with closure so that they can get out. And then, I don't know, will they be haters for the rest of their life? Will they maybe just go to the app layer, take a discount, say, I still believe in what you're doing, but I'll take a 10% haircut and I'll just go to the app layer and try to earn money there? Maybe that happens. Really not sure. You can use the Thor wallet card more or less everywhere other than the U.S. and countries sanctioned by the U.S. Fantastic. But can't necessarily order the card from every country it's usable in. The list of countries where you can request a Visa card too is very Europe-centric. That's cool. I mean, it looks like we're getting more adoption, right? With a Bitcoin, with friendly. I mean, we'll have to see how it goes. I don't know what's going to happen with it, but it does look like the administration is pro crypto, and we're going to have to see how that goes. It does look positive compared to the last 4 years. I don't know how it could be any worse. You know what I mean? Aside from trying to outright ban things, which they know they cannot do. Right. So that's it for this news live stream. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for chatting. I hope you got some value out of it. If you got any new stories, I hope that maybe you're up to date with maybe some other stuff that's happening in the ecosystem. I'm going to do these every Friday. We might change the time to these to maybe be a little bit sooner, because I know it's really late for a lot of people. So underneath this, not in the chat right now because I'm about to close this, but if you have a better time that you think we should do these to get more viewers, then let me know, or let us know down in the comments. But that's going to be it for this one. Thank you for being here. I'll see you on the next ones.